Hey girl, hey, it's your birth bestie, Nurse Rini, and I am back just with an update. I know I'm a little late, but this article was written, I think, yesterday, and it says that Adriana Smith, the pregnant woman who was kept alive under abortion law, has been delivered. So I don't have any specifics about what has since happened with Adriana, but I imagine that her family are probably making arrangements for her. But you know what I was thinking about? This baby had an emergency C-section, so definitely preterm, right? What happened that all of a sudden the baby had, needed to be delivered? Like, like I was just thinking about how violating it is for them to be like touching her and doing things to her like she's a mannequin or something. And also how hard that must have been for her family to like actually watch happen. And then when we think about like the emotional trauma to the family, getting the news that she's had this brain injury, you know, and thinking that she's going to be helped, only to find out that they cannot help her, but they hook her up to a vent anyway without consent from the family. So they have the devastation of this event, this medical event, this acute medical event that happened to someone that they previously thought was healthy to absorb and take in. And then the stress of knowing, like, okay, she's not going to come out of this. But then now they have to go back and grieve all over again, after having to have fought this whole last few months. It's just really a lot. It's really sad. And I wonder what's going to come of a situation like this in the future. I'm sure if the baby does well, he's in the NICU now, then this will probably just be the standard. Yeah. I remember one time, and this was a little different situation. I remember there was someone who didn't feel well, and she called her doctor, was actually talking to her doctor on the phone when she, I think, must have had like a stroke or something. The doctor gets off the phone, calls 911. They go and get this, they get to her house, this woman's house, and it's the same thing. Like you know, picked her up, emergency services. They were working on her. They brought her to the hospital and delivered her, and her baby was super preterm. But the baby, and this is when I was a NICU nurse, the baby ended up doing very well. But this woman was like, it's so interesting. She had all her ducks in a row. She had everything outlined. Like, I want this, that, and this. Like, there were no questions that went unanswered as to like how to deal with her health and her baby should she not be around. Considering though that she was healthy, that she had all this outlined was interesting. Um, but yeah, and I think it's even more sad because she has a 7-year old at home, Miss Smith, and he just thinks she's sleeping. And like, how do you deal with that? And I think these are things that people who make these laws don't quite understand, right? And people make laws that don't really necessarily may not ever impact them personally. And don't have the ability to consider and be empathetic and think about others, whether others are her family members or her wishes, has she had the ability to make them known. Anyway, I hope this family can find some peace in all this. I hope the baby ends up being very healthy, and that everything works out in the end. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, share, and follow for more.